as a result of the lights being off, the South African economy has not been able to grow. As they say in economics, so electricity is a structural constraint to the South African economy, and that's why the economy has barely grown. That's why you have these levels of unemployment in the country, and of course the poverty levels in the country. It's as a result of an economy that is not growing, an economy that's not creating jobs. And the one sector of the economy that is complicit in relation to the inability of the economy to grow is electricity. So we have been addressing a crisis since I've been appointed, and in fact this crisis stretches back about 10 years ago. Of course it became much more intense 2023, and that's why we have seen an economy that has contracted, and we have not been able to reach pre-COVID levels from the size of the South African economy. And we have seen the manifestations of this inability to grow is that the Minister of Finance finds it exceptionally difficult to balance the books because the revenue is contracting and the demands on the budget is increasing, and hence other levers to try and ensure that we were able to increase revenue, including fuel levy increases, including VAT increases. And this is as a result of an economy that's not growing, and that economy is influenced by electricity that is not sufficient to allow the economy to grow. So now that we have turned the corner on load shedding, we are addressing the future. So energy now ceases to be a crisis. Energy and electricity is going to be a catalyst for growth, and that's what we are sharing with you. We are now getting to the South African economy to grow with sufficient electricity demand going into the future. So we are projecting until 2042, there has to be a deliberate and well-constructed and orchestrated plan on how, one, we don't get back to situations of load shedding, and two, we're able to secure energy security, and three, that energy security, and in particular electricity, the conversion of the primary sources of energy to electricity must be such that is affordable and in fact is available to all. So that's what we are doing today. We are looking into the future. The second thing that we are doing today is we are presenting this program, an investment program if you come to think of it. The size of this investment program is 2.2 trillion rands. So if you come to think of it in relative terms, the South African economy is 7 trillion rands. We are presenting 2.2 trillion rands of an investment program. So this constitutes 30% of South Africa's GDP. And on the back of this, what we'll be doing is to see that we are able to industrialize on the back of what we are presenting today, so that we answer the questions that have been posed by the 7th administration in relation to the three priorities. One is to get the economy growing and get people into jobs. And you know that we've set ourselves a target of growing the South African economy by 3 percentage point plus by 2030. So that's what we had committed ourselves to. There is no economy that grows if the lights are off. There is no industries that will decide to locate in South Africa if we can't guarantee them electricity that is available, that is of good quality, and that is affordable. And for as long as we had had load shedding, industry did not have the confidence to come into the South African economy and make the necessary investments. Even those that had invested in the South African economy, we have seen capacity utilization going down. That is the degree to which they are able to maximize production from their installed capacity has gone down because we were not guaranteeing them sufficient electricity. And as a result of that, they had to resort to laying off people, and that's why you have the unemployment rate that we are having now. So we are presenting to you not just an electricity program, but in fact we are responding to an economic question. So we are presenting to the country a 2.2 trillion rands investment program, and on the back of this we are going to industrialize and get people into jobs. The third thing that we are doing today is that for the first time since the recorded history of this country, especially on the production side of electricity, for the first time now, you are going to see that the electricity that is generated from cleaner sources of energy is going to be greater than the fossil fuels. So your cleaner sources, I'll show you what those are. They include hydro, nuclear, wind, solar. They are going to surpass coal as a primary source of electricity in the country. So the country electricity and energy complex is pivoting, and from now on, once we implement this program, is going to be cleaner than before. So if you like, it's a pivot from greenhouse gas emissions, and we are going to get cleaner and cleaner. But that does not mean that we are going to abandon our strategic minerals, such as coal. And we're going to illustrate how we are resolving that tension of emissions and the fact that we are endowed with coal. And our view is that you don't have a coal problem, you have an emissions problem, and we'll share with you what that is. So what we are presenting to the country today is an integrated resource plan. This is a policy of government, I emphasize. This is not a wish list. This is not a guide. This is a policy of government. This is what is going to drive the electricity agenda in the country for the period that we are going to define. And we are going to ensure that we achieve a number of elements going forward. We're making the point that if you look at the most affluent and industrialized countries in the world, you are going to find that the per capita electricity consumption is higher. What do I mean? That the available electricity and that which is consumed by citizens in those countries is higher, and as a result of that, you can see that they are able to grow their economy. So the point we're making is that if the population grows at the rate at which it's growing, and we're unable to provide for the electricity, that will lead that growth, because electricity must be present before the growth gets into place. And the population is growing faster and people are looking for opportunities. For as long as you are unable to increase electricity production and ensuring that electricity reaches whoever that is in the country and is able to support industrial growth, per capita consumption comes down. That is the rate, the ratio of individuals in the countries relative to what is installed and what they are consuming. When it comes down, it means that the economy is going to suffer. We also know that economics tells us that there's a relationship of the Human Development Index and also the availability of electricity. The greater the per capita income consumption of electricity, the greater the Human Development Index. So what does that mean in short? As an illustration, that a child in a rural village of Ramokgopa, if he or she doesn't have access to electricity, connectivity, it means that we are stunting the ability of that child to achieve academically. And therefore, you are introducing new forms of inequality, that those who have the means, those who are affluent, those who are located in the suburbs, those who are located in cities, that is children of a school-going age who are in school, have got a greater chance of succeeding in life compared to those who are in rural villages. You can mention them in any part of the country. So it's important that we are able to resolve that question. And that question is an electricity question. And that's what we are placing before the country, that we want to ensure that each and every household has got access to this electricity, and this electricity is affordable, and we can guarantee it into the future. That's the point that we are making.